club, or pulling rye for a local wheat farmer, or being a lifeguard in the summer. There was many opportunities for me to get out there and work and get to participate in my community. My first car, when I was 16, I was able to purchase because a local business owner down at the Valley Vision Clinic bought my FFA hog at the Walla Walla County Fair. I owe this community a huge debt. A lot of this comes from my own personal hard work, but I'm not so egotistical to say it wasn't without the greater Walla Walla community that I was standing before all of you here today. I graduated from Wahai in 2001, and I was called by my country to service. I joined the United States Coast Guard, and for 10 years I traveled the world. I spent about 15 months in Iraq, where I had a great time chasing down pirates and terrorists and doing all sorts of crazy things, law enforcement operations up and down the Tigris and Euphrates River. After about 10 years, I started to look back home. I knew I wanted to come back to the Pacific Northwest and specifically Walla Walla. I had traveled the world, and there was very few places I found as unique and as engaging and just as precious and have as many natural treasures as this area does. So I got out of the military, I went and I pursued my education, and I got my bachelor's degree in political science. And then I came back here and I looked for work. And when I came back to Walla Walla County about 6 years ago, there were some things I saw that I was really, really happy to see, and some things that I was really disappointed. Things I was really happy to see is we have preserved a lot of our traditions. A lot of the hard work, the community, the small town spirit that allowed me as a young man to grow up and stay out of trouble, unless if I'd worked or lived somewhere like Tacoma, where I would have probably ended up in the criminal justice system. What's really disappointed me is there are big city problems that are eating away within our county. Crime is up and wages are down. We have drive-by shootings. We have gang assassinations in people's yards. Sitting around the break room table with my friends up at the penitentiary where I work, I hear how a small bill of $500 completely breaks a small family. $500 bill for tires or a sick kid to go see a specialist in Spokane financially derails them for an entire month. Now, I don't know how many of you wanted to work in a penitentiary when you were young kids. I know I personally didn't want to work in a penitentiary when I grew up. But as far as industry and livable wage jobs in our area, the penitentiary is one of the few places we can go and look. So that's what really made me decide to run for county commissioner. I've had a passion for politics since about the age of 15. The American Cancer Society afforded me the opportunity to go to Olympia and do some lobby work for the American Cancer Society, and that's where I really became in love with the political process. How we're going to solve our problems. I have a three-tiered approach to solving our issues of low income, high crime. One is we're going to make our area as attractive as possible to outside businesses. We're going to do everything we can to make Walla Walla the place that businesses want to come. How are we going to do that? We're going to build the infrastructure that supports these types of businesses. Fiber optic is sitting out in the nowhere. It's not plugged into any homes, it's not plugged into any businesses, and we need to motivate those businesses to get fiber optic plugged in so we can attract modern, innovative businesses. For example, out at Walla Walla University, we have a 3D printing firm ran by students that would love to make 3D printers, this new innovative technology, something that would be perfect for Walla Walla as a future industry. Reducing our crime, solving some of the issues within our schools will also make us a more attractive place for us to live and to attract businesses. For crime, there's some things we need to do referencing crime. There is a pay retention issue within the sheriff's office. When you have a deputy who is hired on, and then a month later they are stolen, headhunted by the Walla Walla Police Department, that will tell you that there is an issue with pay and retention within the sheriff's office. More specifically, school resource officers. I see the gang problem as starting within our school systems. In fact, It's around the age of 12 to 13 is when males get introduced to the gang culture and gang society. And more specifically, it's Latino males. So 40% of our Latino males are not graduating from our schools. That's the highest at-risk demographic. And when you want to solve a problem, you focus at where the money is needed the most. That's where you direct your funds, that's where you direct your energy, and that's where you direct your outreach. With school resource officers, we put deputies back into our high schools to reach out to these young men, to give them role models, to speak to them, to show them that there is another way. Potentially, when we have the good industry in place, these young men will not be disenfranchised, they will not be disillusioned, and they will not turn to a life of crime. Or when they graduate from Walla Walla Community College, which is the #1 community college in the country, they will have good jobs to turn to, and they'll stay here, and we'll stop having this brain drain that we're seeing currently within our county. Now, the third tier approach is community involvement. I am not egotistical to say that I know all the answers to all the problems. Collaboration and listening is the only way we're going to get things done. And this is probably my #1 critique of the current county commissioners. They are content to balance the budget, and that's it. Beyond that, there is no community outreach, there's no community speaking, there's no asking people for their solutions. When I decided about it...
That's right, I agree with that. You're right.
Thank you, thank you.
Almost no outreach activity, you're right.
Thank you, thank you. So, transparent...
Everybody should comment.
Thank you. Transparency of local government
You're a good guy, but the fact
is the third way we're going to solve these issues.
that's right.
Is instead of having meetings in the daytime from 9 to 12 when most people are working, why can't we have county commissioners in the evening? Why can't we have county commissioners in Burbank or Waitsburg or Prescott on occasion to reach out to those members in the community? When I go up to someone's door and I say, "Hi, my name is Jared and I'm running for county commissioner," and they say, "What's a county commissioner?" That's wrong. So involving the people is the only way we're going to get things done. Because a year and a half ago when I decided to run, what I did is I went out to every county official, every executive. In fact, John Turner was one of the first people I spoke to. And I said, "What are your issues? What are you dealing with? In 30 minutes, tell me what's going on." And then I said, "Tell me your solutions to your issues." Because the people who are on the ground level, the people who are in the trenches, know how to answer. And then as a county commissioner, it's my responsibility to make sure the funding is there, the support is there, and the community word is there to solve these issues and solve these problems. When something you'll notice about me, probably compared to the other candidates, is I'm maybe 30 to 40 years younger than the other candidates. And that's not an insult, and that's not an insult to any of the candidates. Most people hold it against me. Thank you for not holding it against me. It's actually been a very large challenge for me to overcome. What's that? Oh yeah, maybe 5 years younger than mine. So, another concern that I've seen is that our county officials, all of our county executives, are approximately the same age. We've had people who have been in county office doing more with less for a very, very long time and doing an amazing job. You people are well taken care of. We are all well taken care of within this county. We have some amazingly intelligent, just geniuses taking care of us. And they're all going to leave about approximately the same time. And there is not going to be someone to bridge that gap, to cover that hole that's going to be left, that vacuum that's going to be created by all of this knowledge and experience by 20 to 25-year officials that are one day going to vacate elected office. So that's one of the reasons I decided to run now. When I decided to run, I was criticized for running as a Democrat. I thought long and hard about this process. I was told to run as an independent. I was told to run as a Republican. I was told to run as part of the Bull Moose Party, which is Theodore Roosevelt's party, who's my favorite president. And I decided to run as a Democrat because I have convictions that might not necessarily be local convictions or local issues, but I am a man of integrity, and I have to stand by those convictions. And it would be dishonest for me to run as any other party or with any other moniker than Democrat. And I would rather lose.
I think we need to understand Respect. Respect.
Thank you. Thank you. So, like a captain, I would rather go down with my ship. But that's not where we're at in this. That's honestly not where we're at in this. So, this entire process of my my campaign has been a social experiment to see if the average citizen can motivate and create a grassroots effort to run and participate in local government. And here's the success we're looking at. I looked at the public disclosure this morning for my candidates. I'm outraising my candidates 2,000 to 1 as far as fundraising goes. If you drive down anywhere around the streets, I've passed out about 200 to 300 yard signs already, going and knocking on doors. My opponents, no one's heard from them. They're not knocking on doors. My opponent specifically, who is the incumbent for the office, has been happy to rest on the fact that he is the incumbent, that his mere position is going to get him reelected. So he's not out raising money, he's not out speaking to people, and he's not out talking to people to see what the real issues are. And that's why this campaign has turned into something that's really unique, and I really hope that you all here tonight will get involved with it. So here's how you get involved. I've got websites set up, I've got Facebook set up, I have a very large, very heavy social media presence. You can follow me on Instagram and all that neat stuff. If you don't know what that is, it's okay. So here's how everyone in here tonight can get involved. You can donate $500 to my campaign. Now, if your pockets aren't that deep, you can still go to my website. There's a big donate button on there, and you can hit me up for 20 bucks. Now here's what $20 does, and this is really what's powerful about this. You donate me $20, I do what's a promotion of my Facebook page. The last time I promoted my Facebook page for $20 for 5 days, my Facebook page reached over 10,000 people for 20 bucks. So that's the power of $20 each one of you have in this room tonight to create change within our local community. Now beyond that, if you don't want to donate money, please show up, help me knock on signs. If you haven't heard, there's this really cool little app out where you chase Pokemon around. And so it's really helped my yard site, like my doorbelling, because everyone's running around knocking on doors and chasing Pokemon. And then on top of that, write letters to the editor, because that is a very important, very powerful, very impactful message when they hear from the people in the community out there saying, hey, this is what I heard from Jared, this is what I think is going on, and this is what I would like to see. So thank you for listening tonight. Thank you for showing up. All of you showing up here shows that you are engaged, dedicated, concerned residents of our community. And I want to applaud every one of you for that. So I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause for showing up tonight. So thank you. And let's open the floor to questions.
About 10 minutes for questions.
Yeah, I mean, give about 10 minutes of questions. Right here.
This is a very basic question, but at the county commissioner level, what would your responsibility be? What programs or institutions do you fund?
As far as the institutions go, so
right.
We've got county fire department, we've got public works. He asked, what agencies does the county government overlook? We've got public health, county department of public health. Here's an interesting fact for you for county department of public health. We exchange 114,000 needles a year to intravenous drug users in Walla Walla County. So that's an area that we
I used
cover.
to volunteer at Heart to Heart. So.
Okay, cool. Right now our count for this year for needle exchange is at 90,000 for needle exchange within the Walla Walla County. There is the Sheriff's Department. There is Public Works, which is roads. There's the fire districts. And then there's the collaboration. So there's three parts. There's the budgetary side, which is like the legislative side. There's the judicial side that determines land use. And then there's the executive side that hires and appoints members to certain offices. Like the Department of Health recently was a position was appointed to. So there's like three facets to the county commissioner. So thank you for that question. Yes.
Do you think that it is ever appropriate, do you think that it is ever appropriate to raise property taxes in Walla Walla County without a vote of the people?
Are you talking specifically about the mental health, or no, was that the raise of the mental health to provide the mental health services? Is that the tax you're talking about? Because I thought that was a sales tax, not a property tax. As far as I'm concerned, property tax requires a vote of the county.
I'll change that to sales tax.
Okay, thank you, yes.
Can you
So,
repeat the question, Jared?
certainly. So there was a question, is it appropriate for a county commissioner to raise taxes, which there was a recent raise of 0.1% to provide for mental health services within the county? I would hope that prior to doing this, the county commissioners would have had open public forums. I would hope that they had gone out and spoken to people. I hope that they would have gone out and spoke to the port commissioners to talk to them how a raise in the sales tax is going to impact sales and tourism dollars. That tax raise was within the county commissioner's right to raise. They had the ability to do that. I think mental health services are in dire need within the county, especially when you walk around the streets downtown as sun sets. You'll see the individuals who have unplugged Christmas lights to charge their cell phones. We have a VA hospital within our area, and we receive a lot of mental health, I would say, outliers or patients from the VA. So I would support something like that because I think it's a very needed area within our county. I think it's something that we need to address for public health reasons, for safety reasons. Yes?
What's your stance on the county's moratorium and ban on cannabis businesses?
Cannabis legalization in the county. In case any of you didn't know, cannabis operations are illegal in Walla Walla County, which is one of the 5 counties in the state that is illegal. Here's the funny thing about voters. A voter will smoke a joint while voting against marijuana legislation. The reason being is because voters will say, I know that I am safe with this, but I don't know if you are safe with this. So marijuana legislation in Walla Walla County fails at about 60%. My personal stance on it, do what you're going to do. I think that as a county we need to open up the conversation because there is revenue potentially from that source for legalization. And the county has a revenue issue at this time. It's not something I'm going to talk about on my campaign trail. It's something that when I get into office, I'm going to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, specifically law enforcement, specifically our public health officials, to see about legalization. Because, well, I'm saying to end the moratorium in the county is what I'm saying. Because we need to be in line with state law. That's where I feel with that. But then again, we also have to be honest to as many people as we can within the county, and as their feelings and as their opinion on the issue. And if we're failing at that as far as the communication goes, then we need to open the lines of communication and explain the benefits and explain the potential good that comes from ending the moratorium within the county. That's our fault for not communicating properly within our own area. Next question? Yes, sir.
You mentioned that your opponent hasn't been doing anything.
Yes.
Have you researched his background as a retired chairman of the GOP party for Walla Walla County, so that very likely he has a very solid network? You just
Yes.
may not be hearing about it.
Yes. He does have a very solid network. My opponent, Jim Johnson, is a well-established man within the community. I have no direct critiques of Jim Johnson, other than the county commissioners have been, what's the term I'm looking for?
Stale.
Stale, thank you, stale. They have been content to balance the budget to 25% and then go home for the evening.
Actually, my point was trying to be helpful to you to realize don't assume because he's being so quiet.
Oh, yes,
That's
yes.
what I'm saying.
Yes,
He's
thank you.
very well connected.
Thank you. And that's one of the reasons I am working so hard, because for one, I'm running against an incumbent. Two, he is a Republican in Walla Walla County and I'm a Democrat. Three, he's well established within our community. And I am just an average citizen. I'm just an average guy that goes to work in the morning, works a 9-to-5 type of job. And that's one of the reasons I am working so hard. That's one of the reasons that I have been out speaking to people since February about this. And I have been laying the groundwork for my eventual campaign for about 2 years now. It's something that's been very calculated. I have done the research on the issues, and I have gone and spoken to the appropriate professionals and experts on these issues. Here's where we sit though, as far as Democrats within the county, because I don't want you guys to lose heart on this. We're sitting between 40 to 45% of the electorate doing just like that. So if Democrats vote down the ticket, like I would expect that they did, we're going to hit 40 to 45%, which means I would need to woo maybe 10 to 5% of Republicans to vote for me as a Democrat versus the incumbent. And one of the areas that I'm going to do that in is I support outdoor recreation. I think that as a county, we do not have enough outdoor recreational opportunities, and I am going to build those parks and sports facilities for our citizens to get out and enjoy nature, enjoy our natural treasures. Because I believe, like my favorite president, Theodore Roosevelt, that if we get people out into our parks and into nature, then they will become good stewards of the environment just through the benefits that they receive by taking their kids to the park. So. Jerry, thank you very much.
Randall Sutton, position 2.
Hey, Randall.